Hello, COS supporters. Welcome back to another COS Live. My name is Andrew Lush. I'm going to be your host for this episode, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, Rita Peters, who's also the Senior Vice President for Legislative Affairs. Rita, it's a pleasure to be back with you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Happy to be back again for another program. And Andrew, we always love to find out where people are tuning into the program from, which states are represented here. So if you're watching out there, go ahead and post a comment. Let us know where you're at.
Yes, please do. And then also help us grow the program by sending out a like, a share, a rumble, a retweet, wherever you're tuning in from. Help us grow the program and also help us get the word out about Convention of States and Article 5. It is the secret weapon that was gifted to you, to me, to all of us by the Founding Fathers. We need to use it to reign in Washington, D.C. Rita, we have a very special week because we are going to be in Orlando for the 2022 COS Summit. It's the Reclaiming Liberty Summit. Today, we want to give you a preview of that event and what you can expect while tuning into the live stream starting Thursday evening. We'll then play a summary movie, for the 2019 COS Summit to whet your appetite just a little bit more. But first, we want to go to Mike, who has our Article 5 trivia giveaway question. Mike, over to you.
Hello, Andrew and Rita. Well, we are just about to embark on what is going to be the largest event in the history of Convention of States, and that is our Reclaiming Liberty COS Leadership Summit. What a great opportunity for us to go to Orlando. If you're a leader in the organization and you were able to figure out how to get there, and we thank you for making the commitment to come out, we are going to have such inspiration. I'm sure you've heard this over and over again, but this thing starts tomorrow. Our travel day really is to consider that a start. And there is a lot of cool things that are going to be going on. Don't forget to check your email for the links to sign up to live stream this thing. Again, I'm repeating, but it's so important that you catch cool inspiration that's going on at the summit. A lot of people have given a lot of effort to make sure that this is the best event in the history of Convention of States. So now it's time for me to get into our Article 5 trivia. What I want to give away today is one of my favorite hats. It is the Article 5 hat. What I find is I wear this, my family all wears this hat, Tanya wears this hat, and the coolest thing about the Article 5 hat is people look at it and they go, what is Article 5? What a great opening to the elevator speech that hopefully you have, the 1 minute speech you have that just tells people what it is real quick, and they go, oh wow, that's really, we need that. I hear that so many times when people hear about Article 5 in Convention of States for the first time. So we're giving away that hat. If you don't win it, if you're not quick enough on this particular question, then simply go to shopconventionofstates.com. You'll get a hat just by putting it in the cart. Check out. We have a lot of really cool deals. Chances are you won't leave with just a hat because there's so many fun things in the store. shopconventionofstates.com. Let's get to our question. Here it is. In the history of the United States, how many hundreds, yes, I do mean hundreds, of applications have been made for an Article 5 Convention of States? And this is a multiple choice question, so there's going to be a lot of answers in here. A, 300. B, 400. C, 700. I'm sorry, there's 4. Or D, 800. That's the answer. How many do you think it is? Well, put in your answer and we'll see if you're the one that wins. In the meantime, let's get back to Rita and Andrew and what's going to be an amazing pre-summit show.
Rita, the corruption in Washington, D.C., it runs deep. And it seems like Convention of States is the only tangible, real solution that we can use. We've talked about this many times on the program, that right now we don't have a personnel problem. We have a structural problem. We can try and put as many people into a broken system, but you know what? We're going to get the same end result because the structure is broken, and Convention of States is the only way to fix that structure. We're going to be going to the summit here, and we're going to be coming together as an organization. We have grassroots coming, we have volunteers, we got the national staff, and we have all kinds of headliners who are going to be there as well. Today, we are going to preview the COS Leadership Reclaiming Liberty Summit, which is kicking off this Thursday from Orlando, Florida. COS activists from all 50 states will be there en masse, along with some of our big name champions like Mark Levin, Dave Rubin, and James O'Keefe. Rita, I got a few questions that I want to ask you. What is this event and why are we hosting it?
Thanks, Andrew. Well, I just can hardly contain my excitement for this year's summit. It's our biggest grassroots event that we do. And we gather everyone together. You know, we're always talking about how we're a grassroots organization. We've got teams in all 50 states who are working hard to restore our republic using the tool the founders gave us in Article 5, the Convention of States process. And, you know, I think about this event as a way to celebrate, encourage, and equip our grassroots activists. So celebrate and encourage because first, it's a lot of fun when we all get together. You know, we're having meals together. We are listening to great speakers who are excited and full of hope because of the capacity that we have as a grassroots organization to make a real difference for the nation's future. And it's also an opportunity to equip our grassroots activists through lots of workshops and breakout sessions where our grassroots are getting real hands-on training from experts. You know, it's everything from how to use technology to make a difference to how to build relationships with legislators in your state to how to build your grassroots team in your. So it's, you know, it's a great combination of fun, encouragement, getting to see and hear from, you know, some of our heroes who are at the tip of the spear really for Convention of States, and also just great hands-on practical learning and training times.
Rita, you talked about equipping the volunteers or equipping the grassroots and just giving them all the tools they need to be successful. And you outlined a whole bunch of things that are going to be available to them, different breakout sessions and work groups and all these different things that they're going to receive. But also they're going to be encouraged by some of the amazing speakers that are going to be there. We have Mark Meckler, Rick Santorum, we have our friend Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, and we have Rick Green, Dave Rubin, Steve Dace of Blaze TV. Mark Levin will be there to also cap off the awards banquet on Saturday night, just like he did in 2019. COS co-founder and ADF president Michael Ferris will be there. Even though he wasn't there last time, he's going to be there now. So which speaker are you most looking forward to?
Andrew, I think you're trying to get me in trouble or something. Wow. Thanks a lot. That is a tough question because it is an all-star cast. And, you know, it's the plenary, we call them the plenary sessions, when there's one, you know, nationally known speaker going up on stage for the entire audience of the grassroots. And they are all amazing speakers. But if I have to choose, because you're forcing me, Andrew, I've got to say I'm really most excited about seeing and hearing from Michael Ferris. And I say that for a few reasons. You know, first of all, he's one of the original co-founders of Convention of States, along with Mark Meckler. And he also is the one who brought me on to Convention of States as part of the national staff team. So I'm excited about, reconnecting with him and hearing about what he's been up to with his position at Alliance Defending Freedom. Mike Ferris is just one of my all-time heroes, as someone who has done so much working through the courts and the law, and really just making a huge difference in the legal and political landscape in the country. So he is one of my heroes. Knowing him personally, I can tell you he is a man of great integrity, as are all of our speakers. But getting to know him has been a great honor, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him and hearing from him again. Thanks a lot, Andrew.
I apologize profusely, Rita. I'm sorry for twisting your arm and forcing you. You can throw me under the bus if anyone approaches you at the summit.
Okay.
You can definitely throw me under the bus. So you were at the first COS Leadership Summit in 2019. How will this year's summit be similar or different than the first summit? And can our viewers expect to watch the coverage later this week?
Well, I think it's going to be similar in terms of the format. Like I mentioned, there will be sessions with everyone included, and we will have on stage our, big nationally recognized speakers speaking to the entire audience of hundreds of people. And then we'll have breakout sessions, which is where our volunteers will choose from different workshops going on, where they'll get more hands-on, practical, specific training on various topics. So that will all be the same. I do think it's going to be a lot different this year, just because we have grown so much as an organization. And I mean that in a couple of ways. We have grown so much in numbers. The size of our grassroots army is exponentially larger than it was last time. The size of our staff has grown in order to better serve that huge grassroots army. But also the number of endorsers, the number of nationally known, well-respected conservatives who have said, yes, Convention of States is what we need to fix the problem in America today. That number has grown. So now we have so many amazing, well-respected, nationally known folks who are going to be speaking and just engaging with our grassroots at the event. So that is going to make it just extra special and just really an amazing event. I just can't wait to see it all unfold.
All right, Rita, I think we should go over to the 2019 summit. We have a video of that. Well, before we get to that, actually, make sure that you sign up to view the live stream of the 2022 summit. You can go to www.conventionofstates.com/summit22 to sign up to receive the live stream. So let's talk about the 2019 summit for just one brief second. It was held in Colonial Williamsburg, and we're going to show some footage from that summit. And then after that, we're going to wrap up with the Article 5 trivia giveaway question. So producer G in the background has the video queued up from the 2019.
People traveled from all over the country because they want to save the country.
I can hardly wait to be here with all these like-minded people.
Meeting all these people across the country that are gathering here, the grassroots team.
Look at this. Look at this.
It's going to happen.
Never been in an organization so powerful.
The enthusiasm is infectious.
I simply cannot believe what I've witnessed here today.
This is a miracle in progress right here.
You are the great patriots. We're going to save this country.
You get a chance to be a part of the second American Revolution without the bullets.
We can achieve more than we have ever achieved before. So let's go do it.
First ever Convention of States Leadership Summit. Hi, I'm Mark Meckler. As president of Convention of States, I had a front row seat to this historic event, and I wanted to give you just a little taste of what happened. About 400 Convention of States leaders representing thousands of volunteers from nearly every state gathered for an unforgettable weekend.
We're going to bridge with all these people from all over the country that I've talked to online, and I finally get to meet them. And now we're just, and it's so funny, I talked to the people in the airport. They already knew who I was.
Fun. It's wonderful. They come up and say, I know you. And it's wonderful. I can hardly wait to be here with all these like-minded people.
The speakers that they have scheduled and the workshops, the breakout sessions that are scheduled on specific topics about grassroots activism.
And hopefully the things that we can take back will help us to get our team stronger, to be able to grow the grassroots even more, to be able to put the pressure on the legislators.
Seeing people, everybody, and connecting a face and then hugging. There's something about that physical connection that I think is going to move us to the next level.
There's a certain feeling, a familial feeling, a compassionate feeling towards your fellow man that develops here. Man, that's just electric in the air right now. The event was held in Colonial Williamsburg, Virginia, the town where many of America's founders collaborated, and also where General Washington rallied his troops before the historic victory at Yorktown.
It's profound because when I was 10 years old, I came here 52 years ago. And it's where my heart fell in love with the history of my country. And so when Convention of States said they were having this summit, I was like, I'm in.
A sense of history filled the air, giving attendees a unique energy that you simply can't get anywhere else.
And we're all going to share our ideas, and we get to meet these people that we've been communicating online.
People from all over the country to get together and to exchange ideas and maybe give us some helpful hints on how to push forward.
From the very start, the atmosphere was electric. Spontaneous applause broke out as we kicked off the opening night's activities. Tony Clay, a COS Tennessee volunteer and a professional singer in the Nashville music industry, opened the event with a rousing rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. As the event's MC, I gave a heartfelt address to these patriots that I love so much.
We're here because we believe that the country is at risk. So people traveled from all over the country because they want to save the country. And when I saw my son take that oath, to me I thought, if he's willing to put his life on the line, literally, then I have to be willing to be in the fight forever as well. And I want to tell you one really important thing. I will never, never, ever quit. I will not quit.
Then we welcomed the nationally renowned historian David Barton. He set the tone for the entire event by giving a brilliant presentation on how the principles in the Declaration of Independence are manifested in the Constitution, particularly the Article 5 Convention of States process.
This is why we've lasted 232 years, because we've had a set of principles that didn't change with every whim that came across. Now, here's the sixth and final one. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, in other words, when a form of government says, well, we don't think there's rights and wrongs, and by the way, we don't think you should have the right to acknowledge God and your inalienable rights, we'll tell you what they are and what you can do with them. It's the right of the people to alter or to abolish government and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles. Article 5 says, hey, we recognize that there's going to be changes you need to make from time to time. Here's how you can do it. And see, one of the things the Founding Fathers understood is you don't let the body who's out of control be in charge of making the changes. So when
it's not just about a convention, it's about self-governance. It's about being educated citizens, right? The founders told us it's just a parchment barrier. Constitution, just parchment, unless it's us behind it.
Because they were great students of history, they said, here's tools you can use. When your government gets out of balance, when your government starts doing things that it doesn't need to do, here's how you can get it back in.
I got to sit down with my friend and founding board member Eric O'Keefe, who shared his perspective on the fight for America and the defiant spirit that runs in our veins.
Convention of States, I've loved it ever since that Ferris phone call. It so richly captures, it reaches back to the founding and to the principles touched on last night and today too, right? It says, look, it's our country, we get to govern ourselves, and the decisions about it should be made as close to home as possible, in the family, in the county, in the state. The federal government was created by the independent states, that had fought and won the revolution. That's who created it. They sent delegates to Philadelphia. It was created in order to create a more perfect union to protect our rights. Having a convention of states, convening one, will transform the debate, the narrative. It'll mean that all those reporters that live in Washington, D.C. and go to parties there won't be able to cover America from Washington, D.C. anymore.
Fox and Friends weekend host and Iraq war veteran Pete Hegseth gave a rousing call to action.
History's not over and America's not inevitable. There's nothing about the American experiment that says 25 years from now we will be free, less free, more free. We make choices in our daily lives about whether to fight to keep it free or not. That's what this is about. And we are at a revolutionary moment. And you get a chance to be a part of the second American Revolution without the bullets. Okay, that's where we are. You know what it was? I kept showing up at event. I'm not kidding you. And I kept seeing that Convention of States lapel and the button or any one of it. And they kept coming up to me every time. Have you heard of Convention of States? I'm like, nah. What are you talking? Have you heard of it? Have you heard of it? Have you looked at it? Have you looked at it? And then I started, and then as you grow and learn in politics, as was so articulately talked about, you start to see what fails over and over and over again. And it's the stale establishment approach of incremental change in one direction or another of Republicans and Democrats. And you start to look around and say, there's got to be something that empowers us bigger than that. And when you look around and you find Article 5, it's like the lights go on. And it's our job to turn them on for everybody else. So our founders gave us this gift. May we live worthy of it.
Later, we sat down to swap some funny stories that had the crowd rolling. I'm on with you. I think we have a fantastic segment. I'm really happy with it. And we're sitting in these two kind of modern chairs, sitting pretty much just like this. And so I said to Lucy, how was it? She said, it was awesome. What's with the socks? This is on text, right? I'm like, what do you mean, what's with the socks? She goes, look at Pete. You're wearing old man socks. Like what?
Not anymore, though.
No, not anymore. Look, hey, man.
Look at that.
I learn. I take fashion lessons from my daughter.
Fantastic.
We got it dialed in now. Ever since then, trust me, I'm not caught dead in black socks, man. She's my biggest critic. So that's the lead into this, which is, in your honor, we had designed Convention of States socks, right?
No kidding.
So today we have a presentation for you. Whoop.
No.
Your very own pair of Convention of States socks.
Look at that. Are you kidding me?
We're going to see those on Fox and Friends, right?
All right. Tune in tomorrow morning. You'll see these on the couch. Absolutely.
Dozens of breakout sessions were held throughout the weekend on subjects ranging from executing a successful Capitol rally or town hall, using the COS strategy toolkit, to understanding the political system and servant leadership. These workshops were absolutely packed. Many sparked exciting discussions on how to take our fight for self-governance to the next level. Presenters included COS staff, state leaders, and even a few state legislators. And I even poked my head in on a few of the sessions.
Legislative strategy hinges upon the activity of the grassroots. The grassroots activity is the engine that makes the strategy go and drives it forward.
And I love it when a state director will reach out and say, hey, I need some help with this. I love that.
Several leaders generously volunteered their time, tools, and talents to help capture the proceedings in photographs and video. In the evenings, these modern-day patriots kept the conversations going, spontaneously gathering for dinner at the historic taverns and restaurants just like the founding generation did. Chuck Cooper, an attorney in the Reagan administration, and a man who represented the NRA and Second Amendment lawsuits all the way to the Supreme Court, shared why the Supreme Court is the primary threat to our constitutional rights, particularly the Second Amendment, and how we can fight back with the Convention of States.
We are here because the framers equipped us and placed in our hands the means to ensure that the Second Amendment means what it says. I would have bet probably my last dollar that something like this wouldn't have happened. So this is a miracle in progress right here. No question about it. I simply cannot believe what I've witnessed here today. with hundreds and hundreds of people with so much energy for the Convention of the States. I just would never have dreamed that this was possible. And so I couldn't be more excited, more honored to be here, and happier about what I'm seeing.
Then we sat down for a moving talk with my very close friend, Dr. Tom Coburn, former U.S. Senator and senior advisor to the Convention of States.
You're the leaders. You're the ones that are going to make the difference. You're the ones that are going to enthuse. You're going to activate. You're going to motivate. You're going to mentor. Because they don't know we can actually fix our country. They're not aware that we have a tool that our founders gave us. And so my charge to you as you leave here today is let's go and win. Because I believe this country can cheat history. This republic doesn't have to die. This republic can survive. This republic can achieve more than we have ever achieved before. So let's go do it. Restoration of virtue will restore our freedoms. And the only way we can do that is via Article 5. We have an inalienable right to self-government. We need to take it back. I'm in this to the end, whenever that is.
I don't think I can end it better than that.
Saturday night's Constitutional Courage Banquet culminated in a raucous awards ceremony, including several surprise challenge coin presentations. We also unveiled a brand new award. Amy Frederick received Volunteer of the Year. That was a special moment.
I can't think of anybody who deserves this award more than Amy Frederick. Outstanding Volunteer of the Year.
The Mississippi team was named the State Team of the Year to rousing applause, and it was an award that was well deserved.
This is the strongest family I saw anywhere in the country. Camp together, fish together, eat together, and go to the legislature and kick some butt together. So I love these guys for that.
But everyone was amped up for the main event. Mark Levin, whose #1 best-selling book, The Liberty Amendments, helped kickstart the movement.
This has been one of the most invigorating days in years for me, thanks to you. You are the great patriots who are going to save this country. And you know better than anybody, work in the neighborhoods and the communities, that this is a daunting task. Well, so be it. That's our burden. We have children, we have grandchildren. We're not going to surrender the greatest country on the face of the earth and turn it into another failed European experiment. The Constitution of the United States is the greatest governing document ever conceived. But we're fighting to keep what's left, but that's not good enough. We're fighting to get back what is ours. You, fundamentally, are the only thing that stands between a growing tyranny and a free republic. The problems we are facing now involve 100 years of a systemic attack on our constitutional and republican system. And so what's necessary is a willingness to fight back a year, 10 years, 100 years, whatever it takes.
In an incredibly touching surprise, Minnesota State Director Jackie Burns gave her own personal challenge coin to Mark Levin.
The caller that night said, "You know, Mark, what you should do," and you went off on him. And you said, "What do you mean what I should do? I wrote a whole book for you called The Liberty Amendments. What are you doing?" That was my defining moment. I thought, how long, Jack? God said to me, are you going to pretend like he's not talking to you? So I want you to know that all those idiots that call, I was one of them, and this is your reminder that your words fall on fertile ground.
Oh my
Please
We've never done anything like this before. This is a first for us, and this is a Lifetime Achievement Award, right? Because some people have been in the battle for a couple of years. You might even have been in the battle for a couple of months. Some of us have been in the battle a decade. Some of us for a couple of decades. But some people have been in the battle almost their whole lives, and they've dedicated their lives to fighting for freedom, to fighting for liberty, defending the Constitution, defending regular people in America. And we think it's really important when somebody's willing to give their entire life to the cause of liberty and freedom that they be recognized. So it's my great honor and privilege to bring up my very close friend, Tom Coburn, to award him the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Really, for me, the best part of being together was just that. Looking each other in the eyes, sharing a hug or a handshake, and getting to know our family of warrior patriots. We're getting together and actually breaking bread and swapping stories face to face. It's hard to describe what that feels like.
Mark told me last night, a lady said, you know, there's a feeling I had here I just never have had before. Well, I'm going to suggest to you what that is. It's the feeling of doing what you were made to do.
This, what you see up here, and the way we feel about you and the way we feel about each other is the heart of this organization.
There's a meaningfulness to serving something greater than yourself, God and country. And so when you can come back and find something like this that's so well run, the mission is so clear, there's a grassroots imperative in every state, and the training that I've been given, show up on time, work hard, have integrity, commit to a team, but also know how to lead. Those are all attributes that I know Convention of States loves.
We give people a meaningful path to save the country, a way where they can actually make a difference individually, but also be part of something bigger than themselves.
And that's what Article 5 does. It lets the states and the people take some power back and say, we need to restrain you guys. We let you get out of control. That was our bad, but we're going to fix it now.
What are you waiting on, right? Because, I mean, it takes people to be involved, and this is the way we can do it together as a team.
A phenomenal experience for me.
Yeah, baby, that was fun.
What I love about it, it doesn't matter whether we're Republican or Democrat. It unites our country. Instead of dividing us, we can do it.
You've had a wonderful few days here, and I want you to keep something in mind on the hot days when you're out there, on the cold days when you're out there, on the days that seem lonely out there. This is the way it works. This is the way it starts. You're leading a historic movement to preserve the most magnificent country on the face of the earth. God bless you, and thank you.
What a beautiful springboard into our summit. I hope that you guys have the live stream set and you're ready to go. In the meantime, I'm going to give you the answer to the trivia question I posed at the beginning of the show. And that question, if you remember, in the history of the United States, how many hundreds of applications have been made for an Article 5 Convention of States? And it's a 4-choice answer. A, 300. B, 400. C, 700, and D, 800. The answer is 400. The states have passed about 400 Article 5 resolutions for a Convention of States. We've never had an official Article 5 convention because there have never been 2/3 of the several states or 34 states seeking a convention for the same purpose. That's part of the deal. This demonstrates that the purpose or scope specified in the application really does matter. And as you may be aware, If you're not, you'll be heartened to know that 19 states have passed our specific Article 5 application to propose fiscal restraints, term limits, and limit the power of federal officials. 15 more, and then we're at that 2/3 threshold, and the Congress must pick the date and time for us to have the first ever convention of states. I'm super confident it's going to happen. I hope you know the history, or at least you do now, about what it takes to get there. And it's going to take some wisdom to get the right proposals out of that convention so we can get them to the states to ratify, to limit our federal government, to impose term limits, and to impose fiscal restraints on the federal government. That's the plan. And we're sure glad that you're part of it. Back to you, Andrew and Rita.
Thanks, Mike. We do this show every week to reach, teach, and activate Americans with the constitutional empowerment gifted to we the people. If you're ready to take your place in our movement to restore the Republic, go to conventionofstates.com and click the Take Action tab to get started.
Make sure that you follow Convention of States on Rumble, MeWe, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Parler, Truth Social, and Instagram. You can listen to this and other historic legacy content from our podcast. Just search Convention of States wherever you podcast from. You can text START to 54555 if you want to receive important news and updates related to Convention of States. Again, that's START to 54555. Check out The Battle Cry with COS President Mark Meckler every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of COS Live. We've got a country to save, so let's get back to work.